Sweet.
Awesome. So to kick things off, I do start with the same boring ass question every time. I refuse to think of something better. Simple introduction. Who are you and why are we having this chat?
My name is Gracie, and I'm releasing my debut album, Miss Misfortunately, on June 26th. And a lot of the songs I wrote 5 years ago, and the other half, I kind of closed the chapter and went back and told the same story about 6 months ago. And it's finally coming out, and it's all very exciting. So here we are.
Yeah, awesome. For people that aren't familiar with you, you're
Mhm.
relatively new to the scene in the industry.
Mhm.
Let's dive into just kind of like who Gracie is and where this journey kind of formulated for you. Because if
Yeah.
I understand the story correctly, like it was a pretty young age for you that you started getting
Mhm.
into music and started to like really understand that this is something that you're passionate about.
Yeah. I grew up in church, a lot of church music. My parents are musicians, so I was always around musicians. I was always singing. But I wrote a breakup song when I was like 9. And about who? I don't know. Like no heartbreak going on there.
Right.
But it was always something that I had written about, always something I had done since I could write. I was like 7 and I was filling journals with songs, and there was never a plan B for me. Um, and because my parents are musicians, they always encouraged it and always they would celebrate it. You know, they would put me in voice lessons, and it never seemed impossible to them. They never made
Mhm.
it out to be something that couldn't happen. So really there hasn't been a moment where I haven't been pursuing this. And I know a lot of people who have grown up in church, and it's not allowed to do something like
Yeah.
this. But that was never my experience, which I feel really lucky to have the parents that I have. But yeah, they always encouraged and supported me. So it's been a journey. Definitely have always been writing, but then developed different things to write about, and went through a pretty brutal breakup when I was like 21, like a 2.5 year, pretty like abusive relationship. So that's what most of this album is about. And I don't know, I think it all happens for a reason. And I think hopefully these songs are a tool for people going through the same things.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think that's one thing that drew me into the album and your music when Tori was able to get it to me is that like, obviously I'm probably not the core demographic, right? I'm a 41-year-old middle-aged white man, like probably not the guy that you're targeting. But I think that you write these songs in such a way that it tells a story that like it's very easy to
Yeah.
listen to these tracks and go, okay, I understand the situation, even though maybe I've not been a part of it.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah. So let's talk a little bit about obviously, defining your sound before we get into the
Mhm.
album. Like you said, you've been working on writing songs for a long time and 7, 9 years old writing breakup songs about stuffed animals or whatever the case may have been at that time. What was it like, because obviously your musical taste has changed over time and you've
Mhm.
went through that journey as well, right?
Yeah.
So what's it like starting so young and now being in the position that you're in, seeing that transition of your musical styling
Yeah.
and preference.
What's funny is I someone asked me a question about finding my sound or whatever the other day, and I realized, thinking back on like all the songs I had written as a kid, the very first song that I wrote and like had made into a demo as a little kid, it was like a love song, but it was totally like, I was a huge Demi Lovato fan. Okay. Like
I,
2009 Demi
yeah,
Lovato era, she was it for me. So that song was super like pop rock. There's like a guitar solo and like the whole 9 yards. So it's funny to kind of watch it come back to like who I am at my core. But I feel like I've been discovering lately that who you are when you are your happiest, or like you're feeling the most fulfilled, maybe not happy, but like you're the most fulfilled, you're doing everything you've ever dreamed of, you're kind of who you were when you were a kid, if that makes sense. Like it's
yeah,
the purest form of you. I feel like I've kind of come back to that, and I've gone through a lot of different phases. I feel like I have um, acquired a lot of different influences and a lot of different tastes that have added to who I am at my core. But yeah, I think it all comes back to original inspirations and like my love for Demi Lovato, early two albums, the Jonas Brothers, like that was the foundation.
Yeah.
And then graduated to Paramore, which Demi Lovato, perfect gateway drug for Paramore.
Oh, for sure.
So Haley
Especially
Williams
at
was
that
like,
time, that era.
yes, yes. The Don't Forget album and the Here We Go Again album. And then the first Paramore album I heard was Brand New Eyes.
Hmm.
So all of that kind of just started building this like I could sing the songs in the car and like I would challenge myself to like sing an ad lib that Demi sang or whatever and like that it just felt like me. And so it kind of grew from there. From Paramore stemmed a lot of different bands that I gained inspiration from, like My Chemical Romance or literally whatever else from that, just that era as a whole, and like the angst of it all. um like I said, I grew up in church. I have an older brother. All of his friends were like skaters and they listened to cool pop punk bands. So like I went to a Warped Tour when I was 13, I think. But then I've kind of just collected all these, like I listen to a lot of pop music, a lot of R&B, a
Hmm.
lot of whatever. I love classic rock. I try to listen to everything and be a student of everything. So yeah, I don't know if that kind of answers it in a roundabout way.
Yeah. Yeah, it definitely does. Who would you say is the like most surprising person that you feel like you've taken some sort of inspiration from?
I am a big Ariana Grande fan.
Okay, that's
I
fair.
am. I know it. You're probably not, I would imagine.
There's songs. I wouldn't say I'm a fan of the whole
Yeah.
discography, but there's songs
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
you can't deny, right? Like,
Yeah.
I mean, it
Yeah.
just happens.
Her vocals to me, like her range and her technique is that's like such a sweet spot. Like I love listening to her for that reason. And then also Taylor Swift.
Hey, I mean,
Another one we
everybody's
probably
got to be a
disagree on.
Swiftie now,
Yeah,
right?
I know. Well, and for me, it's like there's albums that I feel like saying this publicly is probably not a good idea. There's albums I really don't like from her. So I wouldn't classify myself as like a Swiftie,
Right.
but I do credit her to like me wanting to write songs as a kid.
Yeah.
Her like it being like a known thing that she wrote all of her songs was so cool to me. So she definitely inspired me to write as a kid. So yeah.
Yeah. But I think that honestly is something that sometimes gets overlooked
Hmm.
where whether you're a fan or not of a certain band or like love everything that a certain artist does, like you can still pick up on things that like there's pieces of them for from a respect standpoint or whatever
Yeah.
that it's like, oh, I love how they do this. And like for me, I wouldn't say I'm a Lady Gaga fan at all, especially her early stuff when it was
Yeah.
real artsy and weird.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I can't deny her vocal range and the stuff she
She's
did with
so
Tony Bennett
talented.
and whatnot. It's
Yeah,
insane.
that's another thing. Lady Gaga. I
Yeah.
I don't like listen to her regularly, but I have so much respect for her. She can do anything.
Yeah. Yeah, it's absolutely mind-blowing the range that some of these people have. So yeah, I
Mhm.
think it's cool that like is it is there any direct reference? Probably not, right? Like
Yeah.
no direct correlation where you're
Right.
like, oh, you listen to Ariana Grande, you should definitely listen to Gracie, and this is why. It's
Yeah,
like,
no way.
no, I maybe very loosely in the sense of like, there's some breakup songs, there's
Yeah,
whatever.
yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, moving into kind of this album and introducing yourself to the world, right? Because that's really what this album is going to be,
Mhm.
is that first step to say like, here I am, this is my story.
Yeah.
I've listened to the album a couple times now, and like you are very vulnerable on this album.
Mhm.
How difficult was it, but how important was it to be that vulnerable?
I feel like it is probably one of my most important attributes. I try to be as honest as possible. And I think it, like in everyday life, in conversation or in friendships, I try to say the things that people are afraid to say, or in kind, loving ways too, not like confrontationally, but
Right.
just like being real and honest with people. And I think it naturally translates to my songwriting. And I don't like it would feel inauthentic to me. I think it would feel fake if I didn't like tell the whole story. When we wrote Not Your Mother was the first one that we wrote specifically for this album.
Mm-hmm.
Um and when I talk about the ones I wrote 4 or 5 years ago, those were added after we wrote Not Your Mother. Like I went back to them.
Right.
But this one with this producer, I had the idea. I think the first lyric I had written was like a dog coming back to his vomit, the first line, and I wanted to call the song Vomit. And the writers I was with, they were like, are you sure you want it to just like be vomit?" Like it was just so like gross. And for like an
Yeah.
introduction to me to so many people, they were like, "Wow, that's I mean, it's a bold statement. I think Not Your Mother is a much better title."
Yeah,
But
especially in this genre and soundscape,
yes.
probably fits a little better.
Yeah, yeah. But yeah, I think I wanted to make a really honest statement uh and be forthright with it. So yeah, I don't think there was another option. And it can be difficult when you think of like people's responses, but honestly, I feel like it's easier being really vulnerable and honest in a song lyric than it would be to like be on social media and be honest, you know?
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
don't know what that is. I think the vessel of music is a different, it's easier to take, I guess.
Yeah, and I think it goes in with, I have a second podcast called Musicians for Mental Health, and we talk a lot about like using the veil of lyrics, right? Like
Yeah.
I can tell my story, but I get to hide behind this veil of the
Yeah,
lyrics
yeah.
because it's
It's like
not.
a safe place.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it creates a safety net for sure. But I do think it's important because it's a safety net, and it helps you disconnect is probably a strong word because you don't want to disconnect from your songs, but it helps
Right.
separate the art from you a
Yeah.
little bit.
Yeah, and it
Um,
honestly helps you, I feel like, look at your circumstance and look at your life from an outside perspective. Either see how, like, if you need to process how bad it was, or see how far you've come. Like, whatever that is, it helps you kind of look at it from that way.
yeah, and I think especially when you write songs like what you do, where these are kind of journal entries, for lack of a
Hmm.
better term. So like being able to reassess, like you just said, and kind of look at it and go, that's a lot fresher than I thought it was, or
Yeah.
like, oh, cool, I've processed that and I can move on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
While writing this album, working on putting together this collection, going back to those songs, like you said,
Hmm.
you write your first song that's intentional for the album.
Hmm.
Was there ever any like notion in your mind that I'm just going to write the whole album from scratch moving forward, or was it always like, I know I've got stuff in the back pocket that I need to put out?
I think I always knew. I always wanted to, yeah, I had like four or five. Gunpowder was one of them that I had written 5 years ago, I think. And then there's two that are unreleased that I had written all those years ago. And I know there's more, can't remember them. Or maybe it was just those, and then I wrote some by myself as well. But I had held on to those for a while, and I had never really been given the outlet to share it or the opportunity, or I wasn't connected with my producer yet. So I didn't have the right people to work with. And I know it all worked out in the right timing. But yeah, I definitely held on to those for a while, knowing I wanted to put them out. And so when we started writing it, um, I initially brought, I think I had shown like literally right after that, I know I want to put these on this album, and showed my producer, and we started working on those. So yeah.
Yeah. Awesome. You made a comment there that I think is important for people too. How important is it to find the right team, right? Because in the music industry, everybody puts their hand out and says they can
Yeah.
help you if you'll pay them type thing. And it's
Yes.
like finding the right people to be a part of a project, even though,
Hmm.
because I think a lot of times people think like, oh, the producer is just some guy that's, you know, helping craft the song. Like
Right.
there's so much
You can
more
just pay any
involvement
of
from a
them and they'll
producer.
do, yeah.
Yeah. And
It's
that's
so
not the
different.
case, right? So what
Yeah.
was that like for you, kind of going through that journey of like,
Yeah.
who's the right people to be around me?
So, being a young woman, especially as young as I started writing and co-writing and everything, you work with a lot of people who want to develop you as an artist. And um, I've worked with a lot of different producers on demos and writing for other people, or like wherever a song ends up, or where it doesn't end up. A lot of producers, when I express, like Paramore has been such an inspiration to me for so long, and so when you bring references, I'm like, okay, like I love this about this sound, or the 1975, or like different influences I had. And they would hear me and they'd be like, okay, yeah, no, no, for sure, for sure. And then whatever they show me after the fact was like super clean and poppy. And I
Hmm.
think has a lot to do probably with have a really, I feel like I have a pure voice, very kind of clean voice. And so I think to
Yeah.
them, what makes sense in their mind, especially a lot of men in the industry, this is a very common theme, trying to kind of coach me into what they think is going to be successful for me, or what they think is going to work with my voice, or what's actually going to be successful, because maybe like rock inspiration isn't hitting on radio right now, or
Right.
whatever thing they think is going to help them make money in this as well, because producers do, especially if you're writing with them, they're getting paid from it all too. So there is like um a selfish, not in a bad way, but like that's the
Yeah.
gig. It's like there's a reason why they're doing it. So it it was a process to find the right team of people. Um I met my producer at a Christian writing camp, and this was maybe a year and a half ago. And we didn't really know anything about each other. We had seen each other in different rooms, and like we had mutual friends. We never worked together. And
Hmm.
he had no idea what my influences were. So we did a second co-write after the writing camp that we did, because we knew we wanted to write together again. And we finally got to know each other a little bit. And he was like asking what my like grand scheme, like dream was. And I said, I would love to like play music. Like Paramore is one of my biggest inspirations. I would love to make like a rock album. And he like stopped dead in his tracks, and he was like, my lifelong dream is to drum in a band like Paramore. Like that was like his dream growing up. And
Yeah.
he's a drummer and plays basically everything on the album. But he had no idea, like, because of the way I had been presented up until that point, working with all these pop producers and everything, like it was very like unexpected for him to hear that. But we totally clicked on that. And this has been a dream for him to produce, because he doesn't get to work with a lot of artists who want to make music like this. So it's like
Right.
two separate childhood dreams come true. He's probably like 10 years older than me. So I'm 25. He grew up peak early 2000s pop punk bands. So he has like a
Yeah.
well of knowledge that I can kind of like glean from. So it's honestly such a dream team. And then my label basically just being like a wallet for us to like go full force into what we have vision for, and just providing like the income for it. It's been a dream come true.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think it's important for people to hear those stories because again, so often when somebody starts out in their journey, unfortunately they get taken advantage of, or
Hmm.
like you said, kind of misguided because like, oh well,
Yeah.
we think that you fit this. And it's like maybe, right? Like
Yeah.
scientifically, if we're just trying to write a top 40 hit, scientifically we can
Right.
do that. Like we
Yeah.
know the formula, it happens.
Yeah.
But is that the most honest thing? Is it the most authentic?
Right.
And at some point, I've had this conversation with a lot of artists, especially like if a lineup change happens or a vocalist change. Like
Hmm.
at some point, I'm not singing my songs and my truth. I'm basically doing karaoke to
Yeah.
be famous or whatever. And it's like, okay, well,
Totally.
don't feel that.
Yeah. Yeah. And
Yeah.
if your dream is to be a singer, I feel like that's a different story. If you just like find a sound or whatever that you feel like you sound good on, it's different than being a writer and wanting to tell a story, like your own story. Um, I think like Celine Dion is somebody who covered so many songs, or she
Yeah.
had people write songs for her, and she was a phenomenal storyteller for other people's stories. Um, and maybe finding things that she connected with too. Oh my God, like legend. But for me, like wanting to write is a whole 50% of the dream. Like that
Yeah.
is like, that's how I process things. And so I think when writing is a big portion of the dream, which is not the case in every scenario, yeah, I think having that freedom to express the sound exactly how you want to is so important. I would rather not do it at all.
Right. Yeah. And I think that's a really almost unique spot to be in nowadays because I think, unfortunately, especially with TikTok and everything else,
Hmm.
right? Like, let's follow the trends, and this song popped off, so we need to sound like that. And it's like,
Yeah.
yeah, it all works. And if your goal is make money and have millions of people see you, maybe. But if your goal is, to your point, to tell stories that hopefully people relate to and help them process things,
Yeah.
I kind of don't care if I get famous in that sense.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Totally.
Yeah. So like I said, I again probably not your target demographic, but I did, understand the stories and stuff.
Yeah.
When you're writing these and, revisiting trauma, for lack of a better word,
Mhm.
revisiting these experiences that you've had, at what point do you safely say this is okay for other people to hear? Does that make sense?
I think, like for me, like, am
Yeah.
I okay with
Yeah. For
people
you
hearing it?
specifically.
I think, I think every step of the way, like saying it vulnerably in a writing session, like I'm a big believer in just like if it happened, that's my truth. And there's no reason why I wouldn't talk about it, even if like people accuse me of lying about it or make whatever comments they want to make about it. It's like I don't know, like I'm not here to prove anything to anybody,
Right.
but I do really really hope, like above my own uh catharsis and like the joy and the healing that I feel like I get from writing about it, I really really hope, more than my own like comfort, I hope that other people can listen to that and heal from their own and feel less alone. My dad's a songwriter, and he always talks about like writing the perfect song is like for other people, for the listener, it's like finding a Hallmark card that says exactly what you needed it to
Yeah.
say. And so if I can do that for people, like that's enough for me to be like, okay, this is hard to talk about, but I know it's worth it.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think that's one of the things, especially in this like alternative rock space or, pop punk adjacent, whatever we want to call the genre that you're kind of dipping your toe in. Um, that vulnerability and being able to share. Cause again, I'm 41 years old. So I grew up in kind of the peak, like third wave of pop punk and emo
Yeah.
and all that. So like Green Day, Blink 182, all these guys are getting big. Then I
Yeah.
saw the rise of the Wonder Years and them talking about mental health. And it's like I can say for me personally, had those bands not been around, I don't know where I would be because I wouldn't
Yeah.
have resonated with what was on the radio.
Yeah.
So I do think in this space specifically, allowing others to hear your story so that they can go, cool, somebody else went through it. Like, and
Yeah.
if they're doing what they're doing, I can move on too.
Hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. As you worked on the album, one of the my favorite questions to ask is what was the song that came together just flawlessly immediately, like there was no hiccups? And then the flip side of that is what one was like, holy shit, we're never going to get this right?
Have you heard the unreleased songs yet, or have you just heard the ones that
Yes.
are out?
No,
Okay.
I've heard the whole album.
Okay. Miss Misfortunately, the title track
Mm-hmm.
it was seamless. We weren't planning on, and it's my favorite track too. We weren't planning on writing another one, and we had like a couple hours left of our writing day, and we had been working for like 2 weeks straight, and my producer had like the word misfortunate in his head all week. He knew he wanted to do something with it, and he was like, we should totally write this for you at some point. I was like, yeah, maybe in the future. And we had that extra bit of time, and he was like, or I think I said, what if we wrote the misfortunate song? And he was like, we can try. And so he pulls up these bass chords that he had like tracked already that he was saving to work on. And it was like it like sounded like Nirvana, and it just like scratched an itch in my brain. And he asked me, he was like, do you want to write this song like from your perspective now or from your perspective 4 years ago? And I was like, I want to write it from my perspective 4 years ago. And so I just started telling like an actual story that happened in the verses. And then we stumbled through the chorus. I like stuttered on the word misfortunate, and Miss Misfortunately came out. And it became this whole like it tied the perfect bow on the whole album. And we wrote it in like an hour. And
Wow.
then the vocal take, we did like 2 takes on the vocal, and it just felt like a gift like put in our laps. So that was my favorite and the easiest to get through, and yeah, that was a dream. The worst or the hardest?
Yeah.
God. Oh, I don't know, honestly. Maybe might have been Not Your Mother. I feel like we kind of chewed on a couple different ideas for a while, but I will say, I have never collaborated with someone as easily as I do with my producer. So we didn't
Yeah.
really have many like hiccups through this process. Um, yeah, I think I think Not Your Mother probably took us the longest because we had another writer in the room and it was just a dynamic that we weren't used to, but it was amazing and fun. But yeah, I think it took us a little longer on that one to get it hammered out. But there's another song. This is the biggest hiccup of the album in totality.
Okay.
There's a song that I'm never gonna be able to release because I wrote it about a friend of mine and a friend of mine at the time, and I showed them the song because I was like, I wrote this about something that happened a long time ago. I just want you to know because we were pretty close. I was like, I want you to
Yeah.
know that it's going to be on the album. And there's like, you can't tell that it's about them. You like, there's no
Yeah.
giveaway. They tried to sue me. So, notice how I'm using really safe language right
Yeah.
now too.
Yeah.
Uh, but it was like one of my favorite songs on the album. And it is never going to come out. So it's really
And that's such
sad.
a yeah, that's such a wild thought that like I mean, obviously if you were first and last name and like
Yeah.
this like absolutely
Description.
identifiable, yeah, like
Yeah. Yeah.
okay, maybe not a great idea.
Yeah.
Or like if it was a music video and it's like, all right, you literally went and found my
Right.
twin. Come on.
Right.
Uh
Yeah.
but like it's so mind-blowing to me when that sort of stuff does happen. It's like why nobody's ever going to know it's about you unless
Yeah.
you tell them that that was a
Yeah.
situation. But B, like even from a quote unquote like lawsuit situation, like just ask me for a portion of the royalties off of it instead.
Seriously. I know.
And
I know.
like
We offered
just
so many like options and yeah,
yeah,
it wasn't working.
that's wild,
I
wild.
know.
And like thinking back across musical history, right? Like there's so many songs out there. Like literally every song ever is
Every
about
song is
somebody.
about someone. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
insane that like they were that
I know.
butthurt about it or whatever you
It's
want to
unique.
say.
And the lawyer was family, so they were getting that for
Oh,
free, which is why we
yeah.
were like, "Oh, we can't afford to like we don't I mean, we know they wouldn't really have a case, but I
Right.
don't know how long they're going to draw it out and we would rather put our energy into marketing the album and
Yeah. That's that's unfortunate. So
I
hopefully
know.
they'll come to their senses and just be like, all right, it can go on album
I
2 and
know.
then
That's my
like
hope.
5% royalty or whatever and you'll be
Yeah.
fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's man. I don't even know
I
like
know.
it makes me think of the Fallout Boy song. Our lawyer made us change the name of this song because it was going to be an issue if they hadn't, and it's like, yeah,
That's so
okay, we
funny.
had to change this whole song now.
Yeah. Yeah.
Crazy.
Insane.
Let's let's talk a little bit about the label, right? Like
Yeah.
we've danced around it. You're on tooth and nail. I mean,
Yeah.
of all fucking labels, right? Like they're such an insanely good label,
Yeah.
great roster, such a long track record. What was it
Mhm.
like entering those conversations and having, because they obviously are very Christian based and church
Yeah.
based on a lot of their stuff too. So like
Yeah.
a label that feels like it fits the mold so easily.
Mhm. Yeah. So I was like my age just missed like the tooth and nail like peak era.
Yeah.
That was like right before, like a few years before my time. And so I didn't really know like what I was getting. I'd heard of them before, but I didn't know what I was getting into. And my manager was like, they're a rock label. It would be like pretty, whatever, talking about Brandon, who owns Tooth and Nail and
Mm-hmm.
who owns all these other labels, some Christian labels and everything. And I was like, oh, it's kind of like perfect. And I started working with my producer, and when he found out that we were signing with Tooth and Nail, he freaked out.
Yeah. I
Because
bet he's
he
the
grew
right
up like
age.
going on their website and yeah, like watching music videos on their website. Uh And so when it started, like the wheel started turning for me because all the people that I like got musical inspiration from growing up or people I've worked with who I really admire, they were like freaking out. And I was like, okay, okay, I get it. This is actually
Yeah.
really cool. And maybe I'm not worthy. But
I don't think
it's
not
been
worthy's
amazing.
yeah, I don't think not worthy's on the table at all. Have you went back and listened to like old alumni and the roster at all to
Here
see
and
like where
there.
they
I
came
probably
from?
should do more of a deep dive, honestly. I feel like that would
Yeah.
maybe I would earn my stripes a little better if I did. But I was definitely like my pop punk days. I was listening to like State Champs and The Story So Far in like
Mhm.
2013, 2014, which my producer has no idea who those bands are because of the age gap and
Yeah.
everything. But um yeah, I need to do a deep dive. It's actually very like embarrassing. But I should totally do I should do I've watched some music videos. I couldn't tell you what the names were, but in like discussing future music video plans, we've like talked about like I was talking to Tyson who works at the label, talking about how my producer, who's also my creative director, we were like talking about music video ideas and inspiration and everything. And Tyson was like, "Oh, we have all of these like from artists we worked with in like the early 2000s. Like we have these same directors and da 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 da." Da. So I've watched some of the videos in
Yeah.
passing, but I need to do a deep dive.
Yeah. It's one of those labels that, back on the Warp Tour days, things like
Mm-hmm.
that, like them, Hopeless was just starting out, Fearless was really just starting out. There were all these like grassroots labels, and
Yeah.
Tooth and Nail was one that like I think a lot of people put eyes on because they very very quickly and early decided like this is who we are, this is
Mm-hmm.
what type of music we're going to put out, and like it's been that ever since, and it's been
Yeah.
so good, like they know exactly what they can do.
Yeah. So cool.
Yeah, absolutely. um being with the label, you mentioned the wallet earlier. Obviously, let's talk about the dirty side of the business a little bit though, right? Like
Yeah.
everybody assumes you get on a label, everything's free because the label pays for it, and
Right.
that's not fucking true. So
Yeah.
talk about not like the deal itself, but talk about like that mentality of, you know, now that you've signed, it's not like, oh man, we get to relax because we've signed and there's the money. It's now I have to start fucking working because
Yeah.
I've got money that I need to make for them.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Because you recoup everything. So whatever your budget that you're given for recording and all of that, you do make back for them. So you do have to work really hard when you've been, especially like right now, I am in like with album rollout. This is like grind season, and half of
Yeah.
an artist's career nowadays is social media, which I they think I'm good at, the label thinks I'm good at, and I'm like, I don't know what I'm doing. But that's like half of it. And you really have to trust that like what you made is going to connect with people because album number two is really all riding on the success of album number one.
Mm-hmm.
So here's to hoping.
Yeah, I think it's interesting though because like it it's not truly a blank check, obviously, but
Yeah.
it's virtually a blank check. And again, the assumption is, oh, you've signed to a label, they're paying for everything, and it's like, okay, that's true, they pay for it all up front, but like the better way to think about a label is they're a bank giving you a loan, and
Yes,
that
totally.
it's going to be paid back,
Hmm.
even if this album, God forbid, doesn't work out. They're still
Yeah.
taking their cut of the money until they've made their
Yeah.
money back,
You're in
even
debt,
if you're not on the
basically.
label anymore. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I think it's interesting too because like you said, the social media aspect now, right? There's no more time of I just get to be a musician. It's
Hmm.
I'm a musician, I'm a content creator, I'm a social
Yeah.
media expert, I'm all these things.
Yeah.
Uh of all the hats that you have to wear, which one's the least favorite that you're
Oh,
wearing
social
currently?
media. Are you kidding?
I knew that was the answer.
Definitely. Yeah, it's definitely that. It's like, and it's not like I love connecting with people online. It's not about that. It's like, oh my God, like posting a reel of a song and really hoping that it does well and making sure like, oh, it's so annoying having to like pay attention to what does well or what's trending or
Mm-hmm.
whatever, because then you have to kind of find a way to blend that with authenticity. And I still want to make it feel like it's coming from me. And it would be so much easier if I could just hire somebody, but I have to make money from the album in order to be able to hire somebody to do it. And so it's a whole ordeal, but that is definitely probably my least favorite part.
Yeah, totally understand. Because obviously I have to do content and everything for this, and it's
Yeah.
like trying to figure out like when's the best time to post, and it's like, oh, I
Oh,
thought I had it figured out, and that one flopped, and now like, what do I
yeah.
do?
Yeah.
it's
It's the
it's a
worst.
mess. It is a mess. Um, with this album, I'm gonna ask, the big grand question, right?
Mhm.
With this album, what is the Gracie goal of it? You're releasing this body of work.
Mhm.
We've already said it's not necessarily, it's monetary to some extent because we live in that world, but like,
Yeah.
what is your true hope for, like, if this album just does this thing, it's worth everything that we've done?
Yeah. I mean, I wanted to connect with the right audience. I want people to like, and I don't know what that looks like, whatever degree that is, whoever needs to hear it, I hope they hear it. I would love to tour it. Oh my God. Like I did a short tour. When did I do that? A month or so ago? It was like a couple weeks
Mm-hmm.
and I had like a 20-minute set. But watching people connect with the songs, like hearing lyrics that they identify with, or something that was shocking to them, or like Sucker is pretty comical. I try to be kind of like witty and sarcastic in that song, and like watching people laugh or connect with the lyrics. That has been like my favorite. I don't want to say my favorite because writing and creating it is probably my favorite part of all of it, but that has been one of the top favorite things for me is watching people connect with the songs. So I really hope that I'm able to like see people face to face connecting with the songs.
Yeah, yeah, and that totally makes sense. It's kind of two sides of the same coin, right? Like, your favorite thing about an album is creating it, but your favorite
Yeah.
reward is seeing people connect with it.
Yeah, yeah.
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 um Having done a small tour, what is the, like, the mentality when you go out and you sing these words that people maybe not, more than likely, no offense, you're early in the career, right? Like,
Mhm.
more than likely they don't know who you are when you first
Yeah.
step on stage.
Most of the people didn't.
Yeah, so what's it like getting up there and then kind of being like, here's my bleeding heart, hope
Yeah.
you
Oh, it's
like it?
mortifying. It's so mortifying. It is, it's interesting. It was, yeah, none of the I was opening for another artist and they were like, they're a Christian alt rock, really, really great band, but all of their followers are like uber Christian. And I got a lot of hate comments from Christian moms on my page. I like posted about how it was like such a gift to me to be able to do this with like to sing like non-Christian songs and like be seen and accepted by this Christian band. That was really cool to me. And I got these hate comments from these Christian moms, like rebuking me in the comments in my lyrics and everything. And like, I don't know, that was tough. It was a tough tour, but it was so like for the 10 people in the audience who connected with it and came to my table afterwards and were like freaking out and like pre-saved the album, like that totally outweighed the mom crossing her arms in the audience.
Yeah.
So it's tough though. Like the first few shows, you're like, you don't think it's gonna be hard because I don't know, I've sung in church my whole life and like everybody knows the songs you're singing and everyone
Yeah.
is there for the same reason. They're all singing with you. But when you're singing these songs that like it's not your tour, so it's not your audience. It is a little brutal and you kind of have to get to the point where you're solely like I'm up there and I'm doing it for me and I'm singing the songs because I love to sing them and I'm with my band and we're having a good time and like it has to be fun from that regard. You kind of have to switch your focus to the other thing. Uh,
Yeah.
it was interesting for sure.
Yeah. And we don't have to dive deep in it, but I feel like that's unfortunately a common trend when it comes to mostly the Christian based music scene.
Yeah.
Under Oath is a prime example of a band that,
Mhm.
came up through the ranks. They were extremely Christian metalcore for a long time and
Yeah.
kind of had to step away from it because they were being told, like, you're not a good Christian because of the
It's
music that you make. And it's like,
crazy.
what are you talking about?
I know. Yeah, it is really crazy. And it would be honestly, it would be very easy to just like leave the church or like walk away from what, but I think because I have like, this is why I talked about how lucky I feel to have the parents I have. And
Yeah.
like my parents were never that way. I get shocked when I hear stories from friends of like, I don't know, like not being allowed to watch Harry Potter or things of that nature. That was never my upbringing, and it never like lessened my Christianity or my beliefs. So yeah, it is an interesting world though. Like what I consumed as a kid was not looked at under a microscope by the Christian population.
Yeah.
Um, but now being on some form of platform and like having people look at what I'm releasing under a microscope, it's crazy to me. And honestly breaks my heart that a lot of people are growing up in the church and they feel like they're not allowed to express themselves that way, or they're not allowed to feel things in that way. It breaks my heart for like people who believe so firmly in healing, like me being one of them, like to completely neglect yourself of that form of healing. It's
Yeah.
crazy to me.
Yeah. No, it is. There's a band called Magdalene Rose.
Okay.
They're kind of like an alt metal Christian band. And
Mhm.
just earlier this year, like they preach during their sets. I mean, like they
Yeah.
are very devout, right? And they got asked not to perform at a couple churches on this tour that they were on. And they're like, what are we doing? Like, and it was simply because of how they looked and how they sounded. And
Yeah.
it's like, but
It's
the message is
crazy.
still there, guys. It's
Yeah.
insane that, you know,
It is really
but yeah, we
crazy
don't have
to
to go
me.
down that whole religious rabbit
Yeah,
hole
I could
there.
talk about it for such a long time. We don't have to.
No, it's all good. Um, let's talk about, obviously the goals in life too, right? You
Yeah,
want this to pay the bills eventually.
totally.
And as a primary thing, if you were to say, the cheesy 5 years from now vision, where do you see yourself? What do you hope is kind of under your belt at that point?
Oh, I hope to be touring still, honestly. I hope to do really big tours. I mean, the dream is to take it as far as it'll go. Like I'm not going to be the one to stop it from doing whatever it does. We're already writing a second album because we just can't stop. We're like 5 tracks
Mm-hmm.
in. So, hopefully 5 years from now we've put out maybe like 3 albums. Who knows how much at
Yeah.
that point. I would love, oh my God, like it's just it's always been the dream to do big tours and sing the music everywhere. So however big that is and however, yeah, wherever it takes me, I'm down for the ride. So
Yeah. And I often say that, albums especially are kind of like signposts or snapshots of where people are in their life when
mhm.
they release a journal entry. If you had to say that this album is a journal entry for you or a signpost, what do you think that message is that you would leave yourself on it?
What a good question. Um, I don't know. It's such a snapshot of such a significant period of my life. It was the hardest period of my life with my family, with everything that we walked through together and finding my way out of a really toxic situation. I think for me, like that was such a pivotal like point in my life that changed who I am. It changed the way I look at other people. It changed the way I look at myself. Um, and I think it really is like turning the page. I keep saying, like, every time I talk about this, I say it's like closing the book or closing the chapter or something, but I keep writing songs about it. So
Yeah.
I really do think maybe it's just the first chapter and it told a story. And I know I'm going to keep telling it in different ways. It's so hard to um, encapsulate it to one thing because I really do find myself going back and writing from different perspectives, from more healed perspectives or from an outside perspective, whatever that is. It's like it keeps evolving, I think. So I think it really was just the beginning of something, but it was the completion of the first iteration of a story.
Yeah. And that totally makes sense. It definitely, it's one of those things where like you said, it's a chapter in the book, right?
Yeah.
If it was the end of the book, then there'd be nothing else to write about. Life would be over essentially. So
Yeah.
like the fact that it's just a chapter, we can move on, we can reference it, we can still,
Hmm.
go back to it when we need to.
Yeah.
I think that's a really poetic way to put it, I guess.
Yeah.
Um, Slightly on the mental health side of things,
Hmm.
thinking about that situation that you went through, hearing the songs that you've made from it and all of that, like if you could go back now, knowing what you know and being where you're at, what would you tell yourself in that moment, during that, event, really,
It's a great question.
other than be smarter and move on?
Yeah. Uh, the thing is, like, I was such a stubborn person.
Yeah,
No matter, and I always have been, and I know I always will be, but I want to be stubborn for the right reasons. Um, I think no matter what anyone told me, I was going to make wrong decisions and I was going to fall in with the wrong people who were going to mistreat me. And I think I had to learn it the hard way. Um, and I would probably tell myself to just keep going. As cheesy as that is, it's really not. It's like
yeah,
I just know that there's something on the other end of this and that it's not for nothing.
yeah, yeah. And I think that's a really important message for a lot of people to hear, that like,
Yeah.
it absolutely sucks. Not saying anybody deserves to be treated poorly or anything like that, but like
Yeah.
there definitely is, as as cheesy as it is, there's a reason that these things happen, and
Yeah.
there's a reason that you're
Yeah.
going through it, and the hope is that you come out the other side a bigger and better person for it,
Yeah.
that can potentially, I think in your case especially, help other people by saying like,
Yeah.
this is what I went through and it sucked, but
Hmm.
here we are.
Yeah. And not to get all churchy and preachy,
Yeah,
but I think people can get so hung up on, like, things happen for a reason or whatever, like why would God let me go through this, or why would whatever, all of that. I don't think like it happened. I don't think God made that happen to me
right,
or made me go through this hard experience, but I do believe that he works it all together for good. And I put myself in those situations, and those people did those bad things to me. That wasn't like inflicted on me from some higher power or whatever. But on the other end of it, I can choose to let God make something good out of it. And like me make something good out of it with my art and with my hands and whatever I can do. Like you can turn it into something good.
yeah, yeah, I 100% agree. Like I consider myself more spiritual than religious, but like I
Yeah.
definitely get that. As far as, I think a lot of times people, when they go through something really hard and traumatic, they immediately tie it to, why would God do this to me, or
Yeah.
why, whatever. And it's like, well, depends on your definition of all this, right? Like,
Yeah.
do you have free will? Because if you have free will, then you did it to yourself and
Yeah.
you just have to
Exactly.
figure it out. So,
Yeah.
yeah, that's a whole different conversation we can have at
Yeah.
another time, because that one's heavy and that gets deep. So,
Yeah.
um, that's honestly about everything I've got for you. I'm really excited for people to check out the album,
Thank
coming
you.
out on June 26th.
Yeah.
So we're just literally 2 weeks away as we're having
I
this
know.
conversation,
Whew.
which is crazy, right? So,
Yeah.
kind of as we transition to the end here, talk about that, if you will, on, you've created this piece of art and now it's almost not yours anymore. It's
Yeah. Oh my God.
almost
Please
everybody
listen to
else's.
it. Please pay my bills. Please. Yeah, I don't know. I'm working on so much right now. We're doing a release show on the 26th, the day it comes out. I think we've only sold like 30 tickets. Oh my God. It's like there's a lot that goes into it. I really hope it hits who it needs to hit. And I really hope people find themselves in it and that they leave the listening process, the listening experience, I don't know, knowing more about themselves or feeling like they learned something or grew or like just honestly had a good time.
Yeah, yeah, and I think, obviously it's easy to say this, but 30 people's still not a small number. Like, think about 30 people being in that living room behind you right now. Like
Yeah. I would
it's a
ask them
full
to
room.
leave.
But yeah, for sure. But no, I think sometimes, like obviously we want all the success that we can get and whatnot.
Yeah.
But I think to your point that you've made many times, you want this to hit the right people. If those
Yeah.
30 people are the right people at that moment, it's done what it needs to do.
Yeah.
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 So obviously I'll link all your socials and everything, but
Thank you.
for the last couple minutes here, tell people what they need to know, what they need to know about the album, what they need to know about you, and where to
Okay.
follow you and all that. So have the full floor.
Okay. So as we said, my name's Gracie. My album is called Miss Misfortunately. That is my username on Instagram and probably whatever else I have out there. The album comes out on June 26th. I don't know when this is dropping, but if it's
This will
already
go
out,
out before it. Yes.
okay,
This will go
then
out.
pre-save it. It's up for pre-save.
Yeah, this will go out probably I have one next week already, probably like the 18th, so like a
Okay.
week before.
Sweet. Well, then pre-save the album. If you live in Nashville, come out to the show. It's at the end on June 26th.
Such a dope
And
venue, by the way.
it is so cool. I'm so stoked. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. Listen to it and be my friend. And that's all I got.
Yeah, awesome. I'm excited for you. I'm gonna, do what I can to help promote and everything. Obviously,
Thanks.
like I said, we'll share socials and a pre-save link and ticket link and all that. I think, I said it a few times in this episode with you, this conversation with you, that like I'm not the target demographic, and I know that, but you write in such a way that like I understood the stories. I feel those
Thanks.
emotions and everything. And I think it's a really powerful thing that you're doing. So hopefully, as we've said, the right people will hear it and it's going to do what it
Yeah.
needs to do.
Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. Again, I think from what I've heard of listening through the album myself, I think there's something here and
Thank you.
it's gonna hit. So
Thanks.
yeah, absolutely. We'll talk soon, okay?
Yeah, talk to you soon.
All right. Bye bye.
Bye.